Bakhmut, we have to talk about it. I've covered the Russian advance around this city for months, but I think the situation has reached a point where Ukraine needs to pull out of the city. 24th of February 2023, exactly when 1 year of the war passed, and now we fast forward, Russians have been advancing slowly, methodically, with very high losses, but they have advanced from the north, from the south. Bakhmut is surrounded by now from three sides, from the east, from the north and from the south. Yes, we have talked about the importance of Bakhmut and the Russians being fixated on it, and Ukraine using this city to lure out the Russians, to make the Russians storm it, to take away the Russian offensive capabilities by just destroying their manpower. But the situation is getting out of hand. Thing is, every last one of the roads leading out of Bakhmut in this 3 to 4 kilometer strip that Ukraine still controls is under Russian artillery fire. Second of all, it's Rasputitsa. The roads are bombarded, the fields are filled with mud, it's incredibly difficult to move, so any fast pulling out is not possible anymore. Russians can and do shoot the city from three sides with artillery, meaning that if you're in the city, it's incredibly difficult to hide. In this video, for example, we see a destroyed Ukrainian tank in the center of Bakhmut. We can only assume it was taken out by Russian artillery fire. Holding Bakhmut made great sense when Russians were attacking it and they didn't get surrounded from three sides. Then Russians were losing about 500 or 600 men per day only by attacking Bakhmut, and Ukrainians were losing 1/5 of that. But now the numbers are different. Yes, Russia is still losing more than Ukraine, but the numbers are closer to evening out now. Defending something that is surrounded by three sides like this, it cannot be efficient anymore. And in my eyes, it actually cannot be justified. Militarily, I think Ukraine should pull out. But what do I know? I'm just an infantryman. But looking at this map, they need to pull out. I don't think Bakhmut will be surrounded. Russians don't seem to have the capability to surround the city, but Ukraine needs to pull out because they're losing a lot of men in that city to Russian artillery. That's the reason. They're losing a lot of armor. Men and armor they will need for the counter-offensive in the future. Now is the time to pull out. My friends, Dmitry, or War Translated, Twitter account tweeted this. I'll read it to you. This is not behind the paywall, which is absolutely fine. A link to my channels would be appreciated. It took me good 3 hours to work through these clips, but I'm glad people can make whole videos just watching my content. And he included photos of me reacting to his content on Twitter. Dmitry, or War Translated, is an amazing military blogger about the war in Ukraine. He translates videos from Russian and Ukrainian to English with subtitles, so people like me can react to it and people like you can watch it and understand these clips. I put the link of Dmitry's or War Translated Twitter account in the description below. Go and follow them if you have a Twitter account. It's an incredible source to get news from about this war. And I have to apologize to Dmitry, War Translated, and to you, my friends, for not including his link earlier. He deserves the credit. I remind you, I don't make these videos. I react to them and I combine them in my videos. I'm not the source. I don't want to take credit of any of these videos. The videos Dmitry included, the screenshots, I reacted to his videos. He actually made them. He took the video from a Telegram, whatever sources he uses. He put the subtitles on it. That's the work he did. It takes hours to do this, and I understand because I do similar work. So I want to thank Dmitry, War Translated, for doing this work. His link is in the description below. And talking about Dmitry, or War Translated, I'm going to now react to his video, Kianin. We've watched many of his reports, and we continue to do so.
Доброго дня, 12 березня. Якщо коротко, в Бахмуті територіальних успіхів Оркостан немає. Від слова жодних. Наші підрозділи за минулу добу набили стільки цього м'яса, що там буде складно його...
The thing is, the Russians have advanced north from Bakhmut along the fields, but not to the city itself. They control the eastern part of Bakhmut, but as much as I know right now, they have not crossed the Bakhmutska river yet.
Порахувати. Вздовж траси Константинівка-Бахмут. Отбили їх. Туди не буду вдаватися в подробностях, там вже розказують в подробицях, вірніше. От Хромово теж відігнали там, дохлих їх валяється купа. З-за Бахмутки лізли, получили, на промзоні получили. По всьому місту наші підрозділи дають нормальну відсіч.
See, I don't doubt the truthfulness of this sentence. Ukrainians are resisting them. And I think Ukrainian infantry is better than the Russian infantry. If you put those two infantries equal numbers against each other, I think Ukrainians will come out on top. But the thing is, in Bakhmut, it's not about the infantry. It is about casualties now, and Ukraine is taking incredibly heavy casualties only for the fact that Russians can't strike it with artillery from 3 sides. Ukrainians might be better, but they're still taking huge casualties. That's why I think it's time to pull out.
Просто дають, а виходять на контратаки, контрштурмові дії. То, що там оці, брехні розказують і захватують вони кожного дня Бахмут, то вони вже задовбали. Стільки раз те маленьке бункерне мило його захватувало, що вже нікому це вже просто не цікаво. Тож, друзі, якщо коротко, Бахмут під контролем Збройних сил. Інші подробиці, деякі там, хто на яких позиціях, то вже хай там офіційні речники дають. Для вас досить того. Над Бахмутом майоріє жовто-блакитний прапор. Вірте ЗСУ, слава нації, до смерть ворогам.
I'll say it again, Dimitri's or War Translated Twitter account link in the description below. I have not really criticized the decisions of the armed forces of Ukraine or the political leadership of the army, Zelensky, but now I feel like I must, because holding this city, I've justified it in my channel also for a long period of time, but now it's getting out of my mind. Looking at the supposed or estimated casualty rates of the Ukrainian armed forces, it doesn't make sense to keep troops in that city anymore. Again, I've said estimated casualty rates because nobody knows truly how many men is Ukraine losing in that city, but if you're surrounded 3 sides by artillery fire, that is not an effective defense anymore. That is also a meat grinder, much like what the Russians are experiencing. According to multiple sources, United States delivered JDAMs are already striking Russian targets in East Ukraine. The JDAM variant sent to Ukraine has a 500-pound warhead, that's 227 kilograms. What is a JDAM? The Joint Direct Attack Munition. It's actually a guidance tail kit, so it's not a bomb, it's a kit that transforms dumb bombs, plain bombs, to guided munitions. In this kit there's a new tail section that will be added to the dumb plain bomb. That tail section contains an internal navigation system and global positioning system guidance control unit. JDAM improves the accuracy of a dumb bomb in any weather conditions. It is a cheaper way to transform your dumb plain bombs into guided accurate munitions. I didn't say it's cheap, but it's cheaper. My friends, you remember Madyar? He was pulled out of Bakhmut about a week and a half ago, and now we will watch a short video from him. Again, video comes from Dmitry, link in the description below.
Madyar на зв'язку, 12 березня. Все спокійно, все круто, працюю. Не дасте трохи нам тиші потримати. Починаєте зразу теорії різні.
Yeah, he was quiet for some days, and I was thinking thoughts what happened to him, because the last video I saw about him when he was pulled out from Bakhmut,
Про Чернівці потішили, але сьогодні головний мейнстрім Сардя видала. Хлопці, це хто з вас опасні парні, як кажуть орки?
Ми опасні парні, всі ми опасні.
Very dangerous guys, yeah.
Хлопці.
А що ви колотите?
Та танчик підерський, заганяємо в лузу зараз. Зараз ми йому...
Іграшковий?
Іграшковий. Хай буде іграшковий. Хай рахується іграшковий.
Та й таке. Все в порядку. Все є, було, є і буде Україна. А Мадяр завжди на зв'язку.
Madyar always on the line.
Держава.
His unit is doing God's work on the line. They are a drone unit. They guide artillery fire and also they drop munitions on infantry and armor. He was stationed in Bakhmut before, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of casualties from the Russian side came from his unit, because that unit would be responsible for the artillery casualties and drone dropped munition casualties. I hope he will carry on delivering updates to us. Next news comes from Estonia, actually. United States Air Force B-52 Stratofortress strategic bomber was spotted flying through Estonian airspace on Friday. This was a previously planned exercise. B-52 is capable of carrying nuclear munitions. I think Russians were sweating profoundly Friday evening. A United States nuclear-capable bomber flying 30 kilometers from your airspace. And let me remind you, St. Petersburg was about 150 kilometers from the plane itself. It's a show of force. It was an exercise, but it's also a show of force. The next video is a bit funny. There's a pair of Russian snipers, you know, a spotter and a sniper. And their day was completely ruined because they were followed by a Ukrainian drone. Let's watch it. So a pair of Russian snipers, they spot the drone. They see the drone. They know they're being followed. They walk casually. But the thing is, it ruins your entire mission. Okay, he makes an eye contact with the drone and flips the drone off. He's really pissed. Go away, drone, you know, get the hell out of here. If you're a sniper, you gotta prepare very early, you gotta move out without anybody seeing you. If this drone is following them snipers, their mission for the day is done. They gotta go back behind friendly lines, wherever they are. They gotta wait for another day. This specific mission is screwed. They have nothing else to do than to just walk back to their lines. You can see they're mad about it. And if you're asking why they're not shooting down the drone, then it is incredibly difficult. To shoot down a drone with this distance, you might think it's easy. No, you're not gonna hit the drone. I mean, if you have 50 men with Kalashnikov shooting at the drone at the same time, then you might shoot it down. Also, drone guns are incredibly rare in Ukraine and they're also incredibly expensive. Flipping off again. Go away. I love this one. Drone crew got a laugh out of that. The president of the Swiss Confederation, Alan Berstedt, says that Switzerland's neutrality is now more important than ever, which does not allow the country to send weapons to Ukraine. I quote him, "Swiss weapons must not be used in wars." End of quote. Here's my take on neutrality. It goes with the Swiss neutrality or any neutrality in Europe. There are situations where being neutral is benefiting one or the other side. In this war, specifically in Europe, if you're neutral, you're benefiting Kremlin. Kremlin was hoping that there is apathy in Europe or tiredness of the war, and countries would decide to be neutral or very slow to support. The more countries that are neutral, the better it is for Kremlin. So I'm sure the Swiss president and the Swiss people don't directly want to help Russia, but indirectly being neutral in this conflict plays into Kremlin's hands. That's the way I see it. If some person tells me in Estonia, for example, or in Germany even, that they are apolitical, they don't keep in contact with this war, or it doesn't touch them, it doesn't concern them, or if they're against this war and they think Ukraine and Russia should make peace, they're playing into Kremlin's hand. They are useful idiots for the Kremlin. They think they're staying away from this conflict, but they don't know it directly helps Russia. People cannot afford to stay apolitical about this conflict. Staying neutral and staying apolitical about this is choosing a side, and it's not the Ukrainian side. The Swiss armed forces had up to 60 United Kingdom's Rapier short-range anti-air systems and approximately 2,000 missiles for them. They commissioned these missile systems in 2019, meaning they're not in active use anymore, but they still had them. And when the war started, they could have sent these missile systems back to UK, who could have sent them to Ukraine, but the Swiss didn't want to do this. They will take them apart, like physically dismantle them. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova confirmed that there is infighting in Putin's inner circle. Now, this is information that would never come out through official means in Russia. They would deny it. The fact that they confirm it is a big sign of weakness in Russia. Maria stated that Putin has ceded the central control over the media space. Now, we're not talking about mainstream media, television and newspapers. These are all controlled by the Kremlin in Russia. We're talking about the Z-bloggers. I mean, she doesn't really confirm it directly, but I know she's talking about the Z-bloggers because that's the only form of media the Kremlin does not control. These Z-bloggers, ultra-far-right Russian patriots, are for this war. They are for taking Ukraine, but they are anti-government, anti-Kremlin, and accusing Putin of handling this war poorly. They are mad about the government because they think the government is too soft or handling it horribly. Which is super weird that Putin now is having these issues with the Russian far right, who was always his main supporters, and now they're not anymore. he has ceded the control over these channels. And let me remind you, these Z military bloggers in Russia, far-right bloggers that the Kremlin does not control, they have millions of followers. That they have power in Russia that Putin cannot control, and he doesn't like it. Ramzan Kadyrov, the dictator of Chechnya, is supposedly very ill. There are photos of him with a very swollen face, which is usually connected to kidney problems. And we know that Kadyrov brought United Arab Emirates chief kidney expert to Grozny, Chechnya. Kadyrov himself thinks that he was poisoned, and he actually thinks he was poisoned from somebody from Russia, so he doesn't trust Russian doctors. Sources connected to Kadyrov state that he has become a drug addict, that it has been going on for a long time, and that he has used energy pills to be able to publicly perform as a Chechnya's leader. I personally have noticed his weight gain in the last year when the conflict started, and I remember covering some videos in the summer when he looked seriously drunk or under something. He was talking about, you know, taking Kiev with Kadyrovites when Kadyrovites were still a very active part of the battle. Now they're not. Now this information here puts that video into perspective. He was probably drugged. I mean, drugged in a way that he took the drugs himself. My friends, I will now read you 5 Patreons who are tier 10 and above. I will butcher their name. If you enjoy my content, the Patreon link is in the description below. Jochni Friberg, Etaoin Carson, Marcos Lopez, Stephen Skrocki, Jak Pardon. Thank you, my friends, for the support. If you like my channel, subscribe to it, and until my next video, Slava Ukraini.